Have you ever thought about just wearing gloves when it gets really cold? Because it's starting to get real cold where I live. And when I mean real cold, I mean really cold for my standards, which is not cold at all. It's currently sitting at around 50 to 60 degrees every day. And yes, I understand if you live on anywhere basically that's not California, that is ridiculous. And you're probably wearing shorts. However, for me, it is cold. So I kind of wish I had some gloves. Anyways, hello everybody, this is that Manga Dude, and welcome to another pickups video. This is almost the last pickups video for the year. It's gonna be the last one to come out in the year of 2024, and this is for the month I needed to focus a little bit, the month of November 2024. And I managed to pick up a lot of really cool stuff, a lot of interesting stuff too. A crazy amount of different publishers, different manga just across the board. Some really cool, like, little historical things. Can't wait to get into it. It's gonna be a really fun one. So I hope you're just as excited as I am, and let's get started right now. Alright, so if you've never been to a That Manga Dude pickups video before, the way this usually starts is I'm going to be starting with the publishers that either A, are no longer around, or B, I didn't pick up that much from, and you'll see as we go through it. So, first up, we have ourselves from the Square Enix manga, we have Dragon and Chameleon from Ryo Ishiyama. This is the first volume, and it just released recently. A lot of hype behind this one. Basically follows a story about this like really big mangaka who's known as like the Dragon, and he ends up hiring an assistant who is kind of like a chameleon. So he's known for drawing, being able to copy basically anybody's style, but doesn't really have an individual style. But after a certain situation occurs, they switch bodies. So now the big mangaka has to basically start from scratch as the assistant that nobody seems to like. He's notorious within the manga industry. So it's a pretty interesting premise, and I'm really excited to check this one out. Alright, up next, I decided to pick up from Kana, the new publisher. This is Eden of Witches from Yumeji. Yeah, I actually did read this, so I won't be talking about it too much, but yeah, if you like Witch Hat Atelier, I think you're going to like this one quite a bit. And then after that, we have ourselves from Alien Books. This is astrobiologist Pratis from Sanami, I believe is how you pronounce it, or Sarami. I probably should have looked that up before doing that. But this is a really nice new release from Alien Books. It is a very gorgeous release. I like it a lot. And I like just like the kind of a reversible cover too. Looks really cool. So yeah, don't know a lot about this. I just know I was super intrigued. This is a very beautiful cover. So definitely excited to get into this one and maybe talk about it soon. And wow, the lighting just got really red for some reason. Okay, we're back. Alright, coming in from Comics 1, we have ourselves volumes 3 and 4 of Maiko 2010, which follows a story about this robot here, which I won't say because I don't want to get demonetized. But this robot here who becomes like a radio DJ personality, and it's about like her life and the people around her and stuff like that. So it's kind of interesting. I read the first volume very recently, and I was like kind of intrigued, so I decided to pick up a couple more volumes because they were pretty cheap, and yeah, excited to get into them. Alright, up next, from Del Rey, we have ourselves Gacha Gacha, The Next Revolution from Hiroyuki Tamakoshi. These are the first two volumes, and this is a sequel series to another like rom-com that I read, I believe it was earlier this year, also called Gacha Gacha. So I don't know too much about the sequel. I didn't even know it was a sequel. I thought this was just a different release of the first series, but yes, definitely interested to read it because the first series was decent. I mean, it wasn't anything to write home about, but it was pretty funny, and I ended up enjoying it. So hopefully the sequel series is just as good or better. Alright, coming up next, from Old School Tokyo Pop, we have ourselves Boys B Volume 1 from Itabashi Masahiro and Tamakoshi Hiroyuki, which, if you couldn't tell by that name, this is literally the same mangaka behind Gacha Gacha, or at least for the art. So, kind of funny that I put them next to each other, but definitely was always been really interested in reading this one, especially after reading Gacha Gacha, because I heard this is the longer series between the two of them, and kind of curious as to see how a different story artist or a different story writer will change this person's creative abilities. So excited to get into this one. I don't know anything about it, so yeah, interested to get into this one soon enough. Alright, up next, also from Tokyo Pop, we got Clamps School Detectives. This is a limited edition from Clamps. This is a very old release, and it does still have the cool poster, which is kind of interesting. I'm going to try to show it if I can. There it is. Look at that. Isn't that cute? kind of interesting to still see it in here after all these years. But yeah, I don't know anything about this one either. I do know this has a novel series as well through Tokyo Pop, at least the old Tokyo Pop. So it's going to be kind of a pain in the butt to collect this because this is an out-of-print series. But yeah, still interested in it. I've been liking a lot of Clamp stuff recently, so interested to check this one out as well. Alright, coming in from Dempa, I picked up the 3rd volume of The Girl with the Sanpaku Eyes from Shunsuke Sorato. Yeah, I read the first couple of volumes already, and I've been loving this series quite a bit, actually. So it's a full-color series following the story about this girl who has Sanpaku Eyes. Kind of like these, how would I explain it? Kind of like why am I blanking on the word? Someone who looks very aggressive or looks like they're always angry. Kind of like an RBF, if you know what that is. But it's actually kind of silly. It's kind of fun. She's just totally in love with this dude. And it's about them kind of developing their relationship with one another. It's fun. I don't know. I really like the first 2 volumes, and I'm very excited to get into this one. And up next, I decided to pick up the 4th volume of Under Ninja from Kengo Hanazawa. This absolutely bizarre, ridiculous series following the story about this dude who's down on his luck but has become a ninja and is kind of trying to do these various missions while all this crazy stuff happens around him. So it's a really ridiculous series, and I'm actually really excited to get the 4th volume because the first 3 were very good. So excited to get into this 4th one. And coming in from Yen Press, I picked up Soul Eater Volume 20 from Atsushi Okubo. We are almost done with this series, and I'm getting kind of sad that I'm coming to the end of it because I've been having so much fun with Soul Eater. It's been really great, especially for a first full read. I've never truly read this series. I've kind of only dabbled in it here and there, and dabbled with the anime as well. So I'm really excited to continue reading this and hopefully finishing it up very soon, if not by the end of this year. And last but not least from Yen Press, I have Delicious in Dungeon Volume 8. From Ryoko Kui. This is the really popular series that everyone and their mothers is talking about, and for good reason. A very fantastic series, and happy to have another volume. Alright, coming in with some of our other publishers, we have ourselves 7 Seeds, and this is going to be Night of the Living Cat Volume 5 from Hawkman and Mecha Roots. This is the absolutely ridiculous horror comedy that I've been reading, and it's very stupid, it's very fun. I'm really happy to have the next volume. These volumes do come out kind of slow, so if you're looking to buy these and wait for the series to fully come out, that might be the way to go. I just happen to pick them up when they come out. So it's been really fun, it's been really silly, and I'm definitely excited to check this one out. And up next, I picked up Candy and Cigarettes Volume 9 from Tomonori Inoue. I'm kind of a little bit behind on the series, actually, because I did pick up Volume 9 just fairly recently, even though it's been out for a couple months. This one's been really fun. In case you don't know what Candy and Cigarettes is about, basically it follows a story about this girl here who's a middle schooler, or maybe she's an elementary schooler, but she's a high-class assassin. She teams up with this super old dude who's a former cop and now a cleaner, so basically he cleans up for her. But ends up joining this group as well as an assassin as well. So it's really fun. I honestly really enjoy it, and I think it's well worth a read, especially if you're looking for a fun and kind of just ridiculous action series. Alright, up next, I decided to pick up the 2nd volume of Nightfall Travelers Leave Only Footprints from Tomohi. This volume took forever to release because I'm pretty sure this series, the first volume, won my best or my most unique art style from either last year or 2 years ago. So it's been absolutely forever since we got a volume, and I really enjoyed this one. This one follows the story about these 2 girls here who kind of walk around their city trying to discover little mysteries and kind of spooky stuff and report it for their school newspaper. So it's pretty fun, and it has a really interesting art style. Nothing I've really seen before. It feels very watercolor inspired, but very much enjoy it, and definitely happy to have another volume. Alright, coming in from Kodansha, I actually picked up a lot from Kodansha, but first off, I picked up Thunder 3 from Yuki Ikeda, which I just recently reviewed for the November FBI, so if you want my full opinions on the series, you can go watch that, or if you want to see some more TLDR, you're going to have to wait for the reading log to come out. But yeah, this is a very bizarre, ridiculous manga following a story about these 3 kids here who live in this kind of cartoon anime world, a very old school world, and when they borrow a game from their teacher that opens up this world that's super realistic, basically the opposite of their world, his sister gets thrown into that world, or gets taken into that world, and now they have to try to save her. It's stupid, it's ridiculous, but it's so much fun, and I kind of love it. So yeah, excited to talk more about this in the reading log. All right, up next, I picked up Shimazaki in the Land of Peace from Goten Hamada and Takashi Sashimo. I don't know much about this, but this was a very intriguing cover because it looks like it's going to be some kind of like assassin thing, maybe. So definitely excited to get into this one. It is one of the newest releases from Kodansha, releasing at the end of the year, or end of the month, actually, of November. So yeah, definitely excited to check this one out and see what it's all about. Alright, up next, Medalist Volume 5. What do you know? I am a man of, what do you call it? Repetition. Repetition. From Suru Maikata. This series is so amazing, remarkable, beautiful, lovely. I'm happy to have the next volume. And yes, I've already read it, but I won't talk about it here. Up next, I decided to pick up the next 2 volumes of Sketchy that I needed. This is from Maki Hiroji, and has been a surprisingly really fun series. I didn't know what I was expecting going into it with getting the first volume early this year, but it's actually become one of my favorites of this year, to be honest. Just a really, really interesting kind of like coming of age, slash slice of life series, following a story about this girl this lady who works at a used movie store, and she's kind of like down on her luck. Everyone keeps telling her, oh, like, you should just do better, blah blah blah, like kind of throwing a bunch of stuff, and then she ends up like finding skating on accident in a way, and now she's kind of pursuing it as like her new like hobby, and kind of just finding a lot of enjoyment out of it. And so it just has some nice themes to it, and some pretty solid art across the board. So I'm really happy to have this, and my wife actually been reading this series, so she's ahead of me now. I still need to read volume 4, but yeah, it's been really, really fun reading this series. And last but not least, from Kodansha, I picked up The Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity Volume 3 from Saka Mikami, which is just an absolutely lovely series. Very, very fun, very light, like kind of like romantic drama in a way. Very much enjoyed the first 2 volumes and happy to have the 3rd volume in my hands now. Hey, it's post-production manga dude here. I was thinking about, or while I was doing the editing, I remembered that I didn't show one specific volume, and that was completely on me, but that is going to be Wand Dance Volume 11. It's kind of funny that I forgot this, because Wand Dance is one of my favorite series of all time right now, or at least of the past, like, 5 years, so, yeah, totally forgot to mention this. Series is amazing, but yeah, here it is. Ta-da! Okay, so let me try to get this focus back. Okay, so we are now talking about Viz Media releases, and this first one is probably just such an interesting historical little thing. This is one of the first ever published and or licensed manga in English, like at least officially licensed manga in English, coming from Viz Media, and that is going to be Area 88 from Kaoru Shintani. So this is volume 1, and yeah, it's not in like the best condition, but considering how old it is, this manga is older than me, just to give you an idea. So super interesting to even have this. I found this at a bookstore up north, where my family lives, and yeah, first printing February 1991. Like, this is old. This manga is officially 33 years old. Holy crap. That's weird to say out loud, but very interesting to have this. I don't know much about it. I did look up this for some reason. It kind of showed up on my radar a few months ago. I was looking up something about this, I think about this author, but yeah, definitely interesting to have this now, and I don't know, it's just such an interesting little like historical relic, so really cool to have it, and I most likely will be reading it at some point soon. Alright, up next, another one that I've never seen before. This is a love song, 4 Tales by shoujo artist Keiko Nishi. And I believe, obviously, as the name suggests, this is a, yeah, it's about 4 different stories. The art is really, really good. In case you couldn't tell, I really like it. So, don't know much about it. If you know about it, please let me know in the comments below if you know anything about this, because I'd love to learn more about this. And I love that they have a description of Japanese shoujo manga on the back, because I feel like at the time, most people wouldn't have known what it was. So yeah, it's just super cool to have this. I've been loving collecting these like kind of old school stuff, especially these ones that have kind of been lost to time. So really interesting to have it, and definitely interested to read it soon. And last but not least, for that older release, I have ourselves Seam Detectives Volume 2 from Kia Asamiya. And yeah, this one always intrigued me because I always thought the art was really, really cool. But I've been waiting to pick up this second volume because I hadn't been able to get the first volume. But if you've been watching my pickups videos recently, I did manage to pick up the first volume. So super happy to have it. I don't know anything about it other than it looks really cool. So hopefully it's good. Excuse me, I've got hiccups. Okay, coming up to the Viz Signature line, we have ourselves After God Volume 1 from Sumi Eno. I talked about this in a recent FVI, so if you want my full opinions on that, you know where to go. But yeah, this was a really interesting manga. Basically, it follows a story about this like world that's been kind of taken over by gods who are kind of like controlling Japan and creating danger zones. So there's people who are trying to research them, meet this girl who has godlike powers but is not a god herself. So they're kind of teaming up to see if they can take down God. So, interesting premise, and yeah, I'll talk more about this in the reading log. Up next, gotta talk about it, Hirayasumi Volume 3 from Keiko Shinzo. Love this series, love it so much. It's been wonderful and beautiful, and just, oh, it's so great to have. And yes, I did read it, but I won't talk about it here because I leave that for the reading log. But just know, Hirayasumi, fantastic. And last but not least for the Viz Signature line, this is from Marvel. This is X-Men, the manga remastered. Look at this absolute chungus. It is huge. It is gorgeous. It looks amazing. And I'm really excited to check this out. I know this will be a read that's going to take me forever because whenever it comes to these big volumes, that's just how it is. But really cool to have this. I mean, I've always been a big fan of Marvel stuff. I just don't really read comics that much. Personally, it's not really anything that has to do with the comics themselves. I just don't really read them that much, but every time there's like something cool like this, I just want to pick it up and see what all the hubbub is about. I do read comics here and there, but yeah, really excited to check this out. I believe this is kind of like an anthology and features a bunch of different artists, so yeah, interested to check this out soon. Alright, up next from the Viz, from Shonen Sunday, this is I Want to End This Love Game Volume 4 from Yuki Domoto, which has been a pretty, like, solid rom-com that's been releasing this year, and I've been enjoying it for the most part. Like, nothing too crazy, but I kind of like it. It's kind of fun, so I'm definitely excited to continue reading it. Up next, I decided to pick up the first volume of Undead Unluck from Yoshifumi Tozuka. I talked about this in one of my recent videos where I did a review of series that people have suggested to me recently, and Undead Unluck was one of those, and yeah, it's a very interesting series. I know a lot of people really, really enjoy it, and I'll definitely continue reading it after reading it during November. So yeah, excited to pick up some more volumes of this. Up next, of course, it's One Piece, it's Peak Piece, whatever you want to call it, One Peak, volume 107 from Eiichiro Oda. Obviously, everybody knows this series, so I don't really have to talk about this too much, but yes, I did already read it, and just know a lot of crazy stuff happens in this volume, and I won't talk about it right now. Alright, up next, I decided to pick up the final volume of Blade of the Moon Princess, Volume 5, from Tatsuya Endo, which, if you don't recognize that name, that is the mangaka behind Spy Family. And this has been, like, an alright series. I've been enjoying it here and there. I do think that the main character is very unlikable, in my opinion. Yeah, I like the premise. I like the art style, as always. Tatsuya Endo just absolutely killing it with some really cool action poses, and some really fun comedy as well. So, yeah, definitely interested to continue reading and finishing this series off. Alright, up next, it's Kagurabachi. This is Takeda Hokazono's big, gigantic, big series that I don't think anybody was expecting to be as big as it is, but it is absolutely massive, and yeah, for, I would say, semi-good reason. There's a lot of hype behind it, and I did recently read this for an FEI, and I will say that I did enjoy it, and I think the art's pretty cool, so I'll talk more about this in the reading log, or go check out the FEI for my full opinions. Up next, I picked up Mashle Volume 17 from Hajime Komoto. This is the second to last volume of the series, and yeah, Mashle's been really fun. I've been kind of enjoying this last couple arcs, this last couple of volumes, even though it's basically just been one gigantic battle against the big baddie. But yeah, the art's always been killer, and I've been having just a great time. The comedy is still around, and not overly ridiculous, but still overly ridiculous. Let me explain what I mean by that. Like, I mean, it's ridiculous, but it's not like it makes sense within the context of the series. So yeah, I'm very excited to get the last volume as well and be finishing off the series soon. Alright, up next, I decided to pick up the 3rd volume of Gokura Kugai from Yuto Sano. Yeah, this one has been a really fun series, and yeah, excited to finally get another volume, and excited to continue reading this one. Up next, Dark Gathering, Volume 10, Kenichi Kondo, one of my favorite horror manga currently releasing, and yeah, definitely excited to continue reading this one, man. The horror manga genre has been getting a lot of cool stuff, and this one, notwithstanding, is also very fun. So yeah, excited to continue reading this series. Alright, up next, decided to pick up 2 volumes of Ease or Eyes. I've never known how to pronounce this. From Masakazu Katsuda. This is, yeah, a silly rom-com following the story about this dude who's totally in love with this girl. Who's a kind of like a voyeur model or gravure model. I don't know what they're called, but like basically the girls that like do like the magazine covers that are a little bit scandalous. And so he's like trying to defend her, but also trying to confess his love. It's just really silly. Same mangaka behind Video Girl AI. So yeah, I'm excited to pick up 2 more volumes and continue reading the series. Up next, Sakamoto Days, Volume 14 from Yuta Suzuki. Super happy to have this one, and you know I already read this because I've been praising Sakamoto Days since it released. It was one of my first ever FVIs like on the channel, so it's a series that means a lot to me, but it's just been an absolutely great, fun time, and definitely worth it, and I hope you check out the anime as well. Alright, up next, decided to pick up Wanted. Eiichiro Oda before One Piece from, well, I guess you couldn't guess it, Eiichiro Oda. This is like his like various different like one-shots and stuff like that, as well as the first One Piece thing, which I believe was called Romance Dawn, but really interesting to read this. Kind of fun to like see the, you know, where Eiichiro Oda used to be, and kind of reading his fun little silly series. There's definitely an enjoyment to it that we are kind of missing here in One Piece nowadays, where One Piece is kind of push itself more towards a battle shonen, which is totally fine, but every once in a while I do miss that kind of comedic stuff, the comedic tone that the old One Piece used to have, and this is definitely within this short story collection. So yeah, if you like Eiichiro Oda, you should definitely give this a shot. And 2 new releases, I picked up a Blue Box, Volume 13. Yeah, excited to have this new volume. I know it just released, so, you know, I'm super hyped about it. But, yeah, I don't know if you've been reading or keeping up with Blue Box, but it's been really fun. And it's been one of my favorite current, like, romantic dramas with a little tinge of sports. So, yeah, excited to have this and continue reading it. And the last volume we're going to talk about today is going to be Juju on That Beat, also known as Jujutsu Kaisen Volume 24 from Gege Akutami, the extremely popular series that everyone and their mothers knows about at this point because no one seems to be quiet about it. But yeah, happy to have the next volume, and hopefully this gets a little bit better because I have not been liking the current arc that much. And that's going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching my pickups video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you watched it all the way. And if you didn't, oh well, it is what it is. But thank you so much for watching. It means a lot. Thanks for helping me hit 4,000 subscribers before the end of the year. And thank you for liking, comment, and subscribing. Those are all amazing things. I love it when you do it. And you can also join my membership in order to get these videos just a tinge bit early if you're feeling spicy for some more of that manga dude content. So yeah, that's going to be it for this video. I will see you in the next one. All right, bye-bye.